Kivi, let me begin by first acknowledging that you were born here in South Africa, but you live now in the United States. But you say you're very close to South Africa and the African continent. But the reason why we brought you here is not so much because of your closeness to South Africa, but more because of your idea that out of the bush, there is an idea there that we can borrow to try and survive the very bad business climate that I see behind me. The market behind me today, as you saw as we walked in, all red. Right. Everyone is searching for answers as to how to solve the European problem. But let's talk about the African bush and the boardroom and how those two coalesce.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Godfrey, an honor to be here, and I love coming back to South Africa, visiting my family, but just being and imbibing the energy and the spirit of Africa, Ubuntu, that gets in my blood. And I share with you that I spend my time traveling and speaking to corporations across the globe about lepidology, which is critical business thinking.
Lepidology. Let's say right. Yeah. Let's explain it first so our listeners can understand what we are on about. Sure. What is lepidology?
Lepidology is a word that I came up with that simply describes a thinking methodology, a business strategic thinking methodology that explores and examines the hunting habits and techniques of the African leopard, the most successful feline predator on earth, and parallels its strategies and methodologies from the bush to the boardroom. And it deals with strategic analysis of how it does what it does. You know, leopard closed 76% of all attempted client hunts. And that's an incredible ratio. The question is, how do they do so? Lepidology explores that at a critical level. And it offers client analysis, competitor-predator study and analysis, hunt methodology analysis, market territory study, client retention. You know, leopard will take their clients up into a tree, hold them there, retain them for permanent, long-term client relationship. But it deals with results-centric, specific, intended hunting, living on purpose, meaningful and significant market penetration as opposed to general noise penetration.
How is that relevant to the business environment we are in now? And when I was speaking to you earlier, you said, particularly for South Africa, where we are at this point in time, you used the word we've plateaued and therefore need the hunting habits of the leopard. But let's begin first by justifying why this is relevant in today's global environment.
No, absolutely, Godfrey. First of all, I mean, we'll just put Africa on the back burner for a moment. If we talk about the global economy, we talk about the BRIC or the BRIC and, emerging markets, specifically where there's a lot of concentration. There is a perilous pit to fall into there, and that is this, and I see this all over the world. As these markets have emerged and come forward and come through, there has been somewhat of a responsive trading notion, and the methodology that operators, entrepreneurs, corporations have used to trade these emerging spaces have really been more line hunt appropriate. Huge corporate conglomerate resources coming into a market space that is emerging and simply responding to entrepreneurial needs, to market opportunities that are present, and simply just filling the space of the need, which is a great microeconomic methodology. However, things have shifted and they've plateaued. Particularly here in South Africa, I see this very clearly. Things have come into a space where kind of this is now what it is. You now need a paradigm shift. If you intend to hold and further penetrate market share, you are going to need to hunt clients. You're going to need to go out and fetch them, bring them in, court them, close them and retain them.
We're talking about a business here.
Absolutely.
In plateau, South Africa. But when you use the word plateau, of course, you sort of get the sense of a very flat surface and therefore easier to hunt. Is it easy then in this environment to be able to successfully hunt like the leopard?
That's a great question, Godfrey. Plateaus are actually the most dangerous space in Africa.
They are?
Yeah. Ask cheetah. They'll tell you about this all the time. Cheetah hunt in open savannas where there is low grass cover because they are speed hunters. They come in for quick snap and trap. But it also is the most dangerous place to hunt on earth because you are most vulnerable to competitors.
True.
Everyone above you, those vultures, those eagles, they see exactly what's happening in that market space. They message big competitors. China, India, Russia, they are watching South Africa. They have watched us simply come and hunt quick take, and now they are strategizing and preparing for deep significant market penetration here, and we need to catch a serious wake-up.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing? I would imagine it's a good thing, because for the first time we're beginning to see competition where before you only had one side that came in with the rules, with the money, with the technology, and did as they pleased.
It's a great thing, Godfrey, if you're a cheetah. However, if you are a leopard or you're a lion or you're hyenas and you need to eat and exist in your existing market territory, you now have very proficient competitors that have studied your market and are launching a major market attack. You'll starve to death. And I fear, and I have genuine concern, that a lot of the emerging, and it's very small, I get that, it's 0.5% of the emerging entrepreneurs in South Africa that have done exceptionally well, are settling back into a fat space where they eat and their bellies are full. But you must pass up big time, because there is now strategic opportunity that big players see, and they are coming to fetch South African market conditions. The reason I know this is they bring me in to speak at their conferences and to position them for entrepreneurial opportunity in South Africa.
Now, let me ask you as an outsider. The plateau we're talking about is not exactly quiet. There's a lot happening on the political front, on the regulatory front, as well as inside boardrooms, etc. You're a business person, you're looking at this terrain and you're thinking, how in God's name do I get to be successful here? Do I commit capital at a time where there's great regulatory uncertainty and the political environment is suggesting perhaps a lot of action still to come? Do you sit back or do you plunge?
Again, great question. Here's the thing. Prime leopardology strategy says as follows: hunt your hunt. Do what you do. Take inventory of who you are, your apparatus, your tooling, identify it and mobilize it to the market. South African entrepreneurs need to critically at this time, and I'm talking about established entrepreneurs, businesses, they need to really assess their asset. What is their strategic advantage in this region? It is actually not their monetary resource, it's not their human capital resource, it's not their product or their service. It is their ability to critically understand the regional market space, culturally. They have an understanding of it. This is their turf, this is their market space, and they need to start adapting their hunting methodology to that, as opposed to just duplicating what they see overseas in the US markets and the European markets. If BMW can build a brand in USA, so can we here in South Africa. This is South Africa. Your asset is that you are a South African organization with South African cultural diversity. You understand it, bring that to the table, because your competitors cannot.